The council workshop for August 18th is now reconvened. And the next item of business is the interlocal agreement between the County of Dare and the Town of Southern Shores for management of funds from the Coronavirus Relief Fund, CRF, established by the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security CARES Act. This time I'd call on our town manager.
Thank you. What this agreement does, it allows the town to receive funds from Dare County in the amount of $37,088. And those funds can be put towards COVID-related expenses. We can go back and collect for expenses we've already incurred from March 1st, and our plan can include items that we purchased to make us more, I guess, COVID resilient through the end of this fiscal year. The Corona Relief CARES Act established this Corona Relief Fund. Dare County is receiving $1,570,418. And the legislation requires that 25% of that go to the towns. So that amount in Dare County would be $392,605. So it was up to the county to determine how to disperse that 25% amongst the towns. And they proposed, and I think we all agreed, that appropriating the money the same way in which sales tax and occupancy tax are distributed made sense. So that's how we came up to the $37,088. The requirements are we have to have a plan in place by September 1st, and if we don't take these funds, then the funds would, or if we don't spend the full $37,088, those funds would revert back to the county. So what we're requesting is, again, to be able for the council to approve the mayor's signature on this interlocal agreement, and then the budget amendment. Do we have that budget amendment on?
I've got it on here.
Okay, and then the budget amendment to accept the funds.
Thank you, Cliff.
Yes, sir.
So, council, I need a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between the County of Dare and the Town of Southern Shores for management of funds from the Coronavirus Relief Fund. This will simply allow us the money to be sent to us by the county or furnished to us by the county. I would like to have that as a separate motion, and then, or I could combine and say at the same time we incorporate a budget amendment number 10 to handle that money. Council's preference, whether to do one motion or two.
Let's do two. I think it'd be cleaner.
All right, then the first motion then is to approve a motion to approve the interlocal agreement between the County of Dare and the Town of Southern Shores for management funds from the Coronavirus Relief Fund. Do I have a second?
I'll second it. This is Leo. I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, I'd call for the vote. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Elizabeth, aye.
Leo, aye.
Jim, aye.
Tom, aye.
Matt, aye.
Thank you, Matt. Motion's made and carried to approve the receipt of the funds from the county for the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. At this time, I'd make a motion to approve budget amendment number 10, which is in your file, in your folder, in the amount of $37,088. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Jim. Councilman Connor seconded that. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving budget amendment number 10 indicate by saying aye.
Elizabeth, aye.
Leo, aye.
Jim, aye.
Tom, aye.
Matt, aye.
Motion to approve budget amendment number 10 has been carried. Thank you. Before I before I ask for council comments, I'd like to have our town manager address a couple issues he has like to discuss with us.
Thank you. I just wanted to sort of introduce some topics and ideas and to find out whether or not the council's interested in pursuing any of these, and if so, the appropriate action or follow-up you'd like to take. And it may just be that we put these items on your September agenda. First, as you all know, the police chief has been collecting a tremendous amount of data about traffic counts. And this information we've got, I think, goes back several years. He's been collecting it and reporting it to you from several different locations. And one thing we'd like to maybe consider is bringing on board on a contract a traffic engineer to analyze that data and to make recommendations simply off of that data, and what alternatives we may have, things that we haven't thought of. We know what the counts are, we know what the numbers are, but I'm not sure we necessarily understand exactly what those numbers are telling us. I have spoken with three, and I've taken it upon myself, and with the understanding that this may not be a direction you want to go, just to kind of get an idea of what we'd be looking at. So we've got we could bring back some proposals from these engineers. If it's something, we've got the data from the no left turn of those, I think, 5 weekends. So if this is something you're interested in and want to see, we could present this to you at your September meeting as an action item. And of course, these would be unbudgeted funds. We would have to do a budget amendment to take this from fund balance if it was something you were interested in doing.
I would definitely be interested in seeing that, but as you talk to them, what I would like to suggest is that council, either in a meeting or separately, present to you some of our ideas to relay to those traffic consultants for them to say yay or nay, that is a good idea, or no, that won't work, or whatever. There's a lot of ideas for helping to alleviate cut-through traffic that even a traffic engineer may not pick up on because they are not local residents here. But yes, I think it's a great idea.
Anybody else have any thoughts about it?
I've been a proponent of it for some time.
Okay, then I guess we'll put this as an item on your September agenda.
Yeah, you'll have some idea by that time, some idea by that time about cost of one of these different consultants.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, Cliff. I think we're all on board with that. Anybody have any negatives? Okay. Go ahead.
I think we should consider extending the ocean rescue season. Based on all accounts, we're expecting the occupancy to stay pretty strong through the fall. And I've spoken with Merrick Dabrowski of Sansky, who has a contract for Lifeguard Services, and we're working on a proposal to be able to bring to you at your September meeting. But basically what it would amount to is, presently in our contract, we have a shared supervisor. We share supervisor with from 10 to 6, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Until October 15th. And I propose that we extend that until October 31st. We have 2 fixed stands and 2 fixed stands and 2 ATVs up until Labor Day. There's a period of time at which we have 4, but I would recommend that we keep at least 2 lifeguard stands and 2 lifeguards on ATVs until the end of September. And then we have, the contract allows for a minimum of 1 ATV patrolling from Labor Day until October 15th. And again, along with the shared supervisor, I'd recommend we extend that until October 31st. As well as also extending the red flags. Red flags would cease being put up Labor Day, extend that through the end of September, and also the beach cleanup through the end of September. I don't have the cost kind of is what it is. It's a fixed cost. We know how much lifeguards the staff costs and the supervisors costs. And so I don't have that figure, don't have the math on that yet, but it's something I think we should consider doing. If you agree, we can bring this forward in September to discuss. It would require, again, a budget amendment, and again, we don't have these funds budgeted, we'd have to find the money.
Yeah, I would add here that the other towns are doing this. They're already on track to do this, extend the season, so to speak, with the lifeguard service being provided.
We have a tourism board meeting Thursday, so I imagine there'll be some more information in that area be available, because we've got a fair number of realtors that sit on that. I mean, I'm hearing that it's going to get more people won't be here, but I think we'll have a little better fix after Thursday as what that may be, which we can share with you.
I couldn't hear what you said, Leo, I'm sorry.
Well, we've got a tourism board meeting Thursday, and we'll have a pretty good idea of what the prospects are, because we've got a fair number of realtors that sit on that,
Right.
on the tourism board, and they'll be sharing what their bookings are with us. So we'll have a better feel, I think, after Thursday as to what the potential will be.
Good point. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you.
And you would be able to react to, hopefully what won't happen, but the potential of a hurricane, a storm event that might basically wipe out a significant portion of the fall visitation.
Yes. Once we amended the contract, and if a hurricane were to come and disrupt, and I don't think I think the contract's for a set amount, and we could structure this for maybe, this could be different, this could be, it's $166,000 to do this. This amendment could be maybe based on an hourly rate, and so if there were September 15th, October 15th, there's a hurricane that sends the guards off the beach, then those will be hours we didn't pay for. If I understood what you're saying.
Yeah, just something for you to think about in terms of how you want to manage it.
Good idea. Everybody's okay with that, with Cliff going ahead and moving?
Yeah.
Thank you. You're good on those two.
One other initiative, one thing I'd like for us to take a look at, and I don't think staff's ready to quite bring this to you, but we've been going through and looking at what we might be able to do to update the website. There's ways you can do that with very little expense, but then there's also full-blown makeovers that can be quite expensive. But I just wanted to share that we've been looking at those upgrades, and at some point I'd like to be able to discuss that more formally with you. And then last, just if this is something, Councilman Neal mentioned this, that the concern that maybe we should have some type of permitting process similar to what you just approved for other events, so that each event, a crowd gathering, could be what we've referenced as other events that don't fall specifically into the parade. We can leave that alone, but if that's something that you all want us to work on and bring forward, then I didn't want to leave this meeting without, I kind of felt like that was unsettled. And so if there's some direction for us to look at an outdoor crowd gathering, it would be something that, this wouldn't be something that was held privately. This would be for public attended events in excess of an amount of people. These would be advertised, publicized public events, and not a birthday party or something like that.
A different event.
Right. But what I think, what I also heard was that maybe we don't need to over-regulate and have too many of these permits, and if we've got what we primarily were looking for, so if we just want to kind of leave this alone, we can do that as well. But I felt like that was kind of hanging out there.
In my mind, this kind of comes back to your job and what your thoughts are about it. I would, in the past, it's been handled at the manager level and staff level, and it's been primarily things like a fun run or a surfing contest, as I said earlier. Do we need to get into permitting that? I don't know. I just leave it up to council to kind of
But-
give me your input.
Cliff,
Sir.
if I may, I don't think we should permit anything, but we identified a potential hole in our zoning for protests, and to me, it doesn't matter the purpose of which people are gathering together. It is the public safety of large groups gathering in public right away. So I mean, part of my issue with the ordinance that we just passed was that it was really specifically trying to corral free speech gatherings. And I mean, why would a large gathering of another type not have to have a permit? I mean, that's really the way I see it. It just seems silly, and sends a tone that I don't think I would want to send as a town. So my first choice, no permitting for anything. We handle it on an ad hoc basis. But since we've now established a permit procedure for large crowd gathering, I mean, I'm not talking about a bunch of hoops to jump through, but something that just is a registration primarily, so that it's coming and can make effort for it.
Well,
So,
I think that's.
I'd be willing to consider it, and I honestly would like to draft the one we just wrote, so it's more encompassing of all large gatherings, not just gathering for the purpose of having an opinion, personally.
In the past, the town manager handles those, and we don't have a large number. We've actually gotten down to two of them.
Okay.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 a year.
Yeah. In the
we're down to
past, the
two. We
town
had
manager
three.
handled it. So in the past, the town manager handled protests. I mean, to me, I don't see a distinction. I just don't. If you're going to require a permit for a protest, you can require a
I
permit
think
for a
there's two
5K
different
run.
risks there.
I mean, you have more an impact in traffic typically than you would in a protest.
I can't help but think that a parade ought to be considered a separate event in case but you're right, we don't have many parades here, but that doesn't mean that we wouldn't get one. It might be one of those lower priority things to look at, but it might be worth looking at. I just leave that, your call there. But I had
Well,
another question for
I-
you, Cliff. On the pay study and analysis, you sent an email out where you're going to try and start looking at that.
Yes, sir.
Is that an opportunity to add something to the agenda for next meeting for going ahead and giving the town staff a COLA increase? I mean, if you do dive into that pay study and analysis, can you just keep that in the back of
Yes,
your
sir.
mind?
Yes, sir.
Because we kind of, given the unknowns of the corona world, we cut out the COLA allowance.
We substituted something else for that, though.
Yeah.
Yes, well, was it a
And that's still there.
substitute or,
It was supposed to be a substitute for a COLA at that
Okay,
time.
well,
That's the way I interpreted it. Anybody else have a different thought?
No,
about
that's the way I interpreted it as well, yeah.
it? You know?
that was a substitute?
Yeah.
Okay.
We took measures to make sure that we gave our employees some consideration at that time.
That's supposed to be sometime here in the fall, but,
Yeah, we didn't pin it down, I don't think, to a date.
We left it up to the town manager, as I
Yes,
recall.
I think you're right.
That.
I think you're right.
And just to go back to the public gathering, what Cliff was asking, I think we should give him a clear direction. What I would like to do is to merge what we just passed with and make it more of a large gathering event on public property versus just something separate for the events and then something separate for protests.
That's a good point, Matt. And we can, is that something we can address?
Yes, sir.
Internally with this, what we have to work with right now, this ordinance?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Well, and something to consider for special events would be more of a registration / notification process as opposed to a
Permitting
permit.
process. Yeah. I think that
And-
differentiation is important.
And again, I guess it would just be sort of formalizing what had been taken care of by staff.
Right.
But if we have it more of a formal process, it's on the books, people should know about it, and it's just a notification / registration process.
And this is for public property and public right of way, not private property.
Yeah, like the beach,
well, see, that when you get into the beach side of it, like the surf throwdown up here, then you've got to get the SSCA in it because they have to cross their property.
Well, staff can draft something up for you, the registration process for y'all to take a
I have
look
no
at.
problem with that.
I'll leave that up
Yeah.
to staff.
And normally that's with charitable organizations, their mission is different than maybe what some of the others we just talked about are.
Anything else you need to ask? Thank you. This time, I'll call on the council members for their comments. If you'd like to start with Matt up there. The Zoomer.
Screen.
Too many
Zoomer.
comments. I just wish I could be in the room with y'all. So thanks for bearing with me.
Thank you, Matt. Jim?
I have nothing.
Okay. Leo?
I just want to give you an update. I spent, as you all know, part of the hurricane, there was a tornado that hit over in Bertie County in Windsor. I spent Friday over there, and myself and another person helping fund some of the people that lost property. There were 36 total losses there, and one happened to be a mobile home park, and I think there were only two mobile homes left. So we need to keep those people in our thoughts and prayers because it was really devastating. One person, he got out with what clothes he had on his back, and he's now staying in a Holiday Inn Express. Bertie County Emergency Management got him some clothes. The shirts fit, the pants didn't, so we provided funds where he could buy clothes. So keep those people in your mind because there hasn't been a lot of press about it. And so we're still working. I'm not being over there, but the person I had with me from Edenton, and then another family, there was a family of six children and the parents, and they lost their total house, lost everything, furniture, the whole 9 yards. So turned out one of the people up in Edenton is relocating to the Chicagoland area, and he's downsizing, so he's donating a lot of furniture that's going to go to this family to get them upstarted again. So anyhow, keep them in your thoughts. But I spent all day Friday there. And if you think some days you have it bad, just sit in on one of those or have to participate in one. You'll appreciate what you have. And as I said earlier, the tourism board will be meeting Thursday morning at 9 o'clock if anybody wants to participate. We didn't meet in July, but we'll be meeting in August, and undoubtedly Lee will have his update on the website somewhere.
Are you meet in person now, or are you?
It varies. It's split. Some of us are there, and some are there via WebEx. So it varies. That's all I got.
Just to thank our staff, our police chief, for all the hard work. It's no fun doing law enforcement most of the time, particularly when it's 90+ degrees. And our public works staff, same thing. Thank you for all the hard work. And thank you for support from our town manager, attorneys, planning staff, etc. Just a huge thanks. Appreciate all your efforts.
Thank you. That's well said. I think it's good to note and to appreciate the level of help we have here, the level of the quality of people we have to help us make decisions. I have nothing else. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I have a motion to
That's
adjourn.
Leo.
Do I have a
So
second? I second the motion. The meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everyone.